Hello, beautifuls, lovelies, amazing, wonderfuls, and beloveds. That's you. And I am Maggie. Thank you for joining me on my channel. Our channel. We are here building this together. When we uplift one, we uplift all. So we're gonna just try to lift up as many ones till we get to the all. Okay, because we are the all and awesome. All right, when you get a chance, like right now, hit that like, hit subscribe, and leave your positive comments right now. What we are doing here is we're doing a slow crawl through Excuses Be Gone by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Why would we do such a thing? Because it's a book on how to change lifelong self-defeating thinking habits. Okay, oh yeah, hold on. We closed out chapter 5 yesterday. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, which is exciting. It's a slow crawl, but it's kind of neat when you get to your plateaus and move into the next stage. So, we are in part 2 of the book, and we are now in chapter 6, the third principle now. Okay, so here we go. Memories of the past and anticipation of the future exists only now, and thus to try to live completely in the present is to strive for what already is the case. Alan Watts. Oh, Alan Watts. If you don't know Alan Watts, take a little stroll through YouTube. He is amazing. So memories of the past and anticipation of the future exists only now. And thus to try to live completely in the present is to strive for what already is the case. So you've heard it many times. So Alan Watts. You've heard it many times, so often in fact, that it has become a cliche. Live in the present. The now is all there is. Forget about the past. It's over. Don't worry about the future. There's only one today. While these are familiar refrains, the truth is that living in the now, living in the now is an elusive activity for virtually everyone. It may be easy to say, but it's very tricky to do in and day out. And yet, Alan Watts is absolutely correct in the above quotation when he states that it is already the case. And this is why living in the present is so baffling. Think about the past and you're not living in the now. But the now is the only time available for thinking about the past. So, light bulb, are we wasting our present in being in the past too much? That's a question you want to sit with yourself in meditation. So live in anticipation of the future, and you're admonished for not being here now. Okay, but now is all that you have for engaging in the delicious futurizing. So thus, as Alan Watts reminds you, you strive for what already is. To be in the now is really your only option. But the real question isn't how to live in the now, it's how to use the now by being present. So how to use the now by being present, rather than wasting it on reflections of the past or concerns about the future. And if you're carefully examining the 18 categories of excuses detailed in chapter 3, you'll discover that none of them applies if you master the art of being present. That's real big. So those 18 excuses that he found the most prevalent, if you can get yourself into a place where you are in the state of being in the present, none of those, if you master this art of being present, none of those excuses work. So that's like a quick way to cancel them out. right? Instead of going through each one knowing it. But it's always, guys, we're on different parts of the spectrum. Sometimes it's very important to be able to know, be able to kind of, something's, repeating, and you start to reevaluate it, and you see where, oh, okay, I don't want that repeating. So I'm going to pluck it out and reinforce it with something good. But once you get to that point, being in the present, all that end game. So here we go. Excuse making, and the elusive now. After spending several days preparing to write this chapter, I was trying to focus on its significance when I decided to go for a long swim in the ocean. As I walked toward the water, I noted that I felt some tension in my solar plexus region. It wasn't anything serious. It was just the discomfort I often feel when I have many things to do or decisions to make. At the moment I was about to dive in, my thoughts went back to the reading I just finished on the psychology of the now. I decided to see if I could totally immerse myself in the moment, which of course meant that I was in fact striving for what already is the case, since I have no other moment than this one. Only this time, I'd be fully present, letting everything just be. I wouldn't worry about the aches in my chest, think about how cold the water would be, or which direction the current was flowing, or rehash all the things I had on my current to-do list. I'd simply be in the now. I indeed let everything else go and stayed focused on the instant, the place, and the surroundings. And something strange and wonderful happened. My chest stopped hurting, I loosened up, all of my anxiety dissolved, and I felt totally energized. For the next 60 minutes or so, I moved through the water, staying 100% present. The moment I decided to just be there completely, with all other thoughts pushed aside, the discomfort I was experiencing disappeared. Voila. Moreover, I had the most beautiful swim I've ever had, and I emerged from the water fully refreshed. My conclusion is that the present moment is an antidote for the pain and the difficulties we experience, which we habitually try to soothe and rationales and explain with rationales and explanations. When we plunge ourselves 100% into the now, experiencing it and nothing else, we're on the excuses be gone journey, with no need for all of those old habitual thinking patterns. So in fact, excuses are simply what you are developing to explain now moments that are tangled in the past or the future. So that's an excellent. Excuses are simply what you develop to explain now moments that are tangled in the past or the future. And if you're truly in the blissful present of now, there's no desire to alter what is. When your sentences express that it's going to be difficult, it will take a long time, I'm not smart enough, I'm too old, blah, 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 blah. You're wasting a present moment with excuses from a not now moment. And when you are having these thoughts, you guessed it. The only time you have a thought is in the now. So if your present moment is being used up replaying why present moment thinking is incorrect, making excuses, it is available for you to do something constructive. Obviously not. So if you're using the now to continue to reinforce the negativity and excuses, you're going to be on that induced transition right on down to a negative lifeline, and you don't want to do that. You really, like I'm learning this myself. There's an aspect of me that wants to be helpful and care, but I'm really starting to learn I have got to protect myself and my energy and my mind, and I cannot let it be exposed to negative people, energy, speaking, music, environments. So sometimes that dials it down and you don't hang out with a lot of people, but the people that you do hang out make you feel wonderful. When you do go to an event, you're surrounded by high order value people. Now that's not to say that you have to be alone, or you can't be around a lot of people. I'm just saying be really aware of what you are subjecting your mind and your heart and your body and your energy field to, and make sure that it's positive. And if you really begin to start to look at the menu of what you're serving up, social media, like TV, music, news, all that, you're going to start to realize, wow, I am eating crap. And then I'm expecting to look amazing. And I'm expecting to think amazing. And I'm expecting to feel amazing, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. You have to value yourself. And in the now, you got to really say, okay, I'm going to put the best nutrition into me, mentally, physically, emotionally, etc., spiritually. And the list goes on, musically, and la 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 la. So, all excuses are avoidance techniques to keep you from taking charge and changing your thinking habits. If you weren't rehashing your excuses, but were instead immersed in the now, you'd be experiencing your own form of bliss and healing that took place for me during my magical swim. So he's saying you do this and you'll get to experience the magical swim that he did. You see, and I think all of us knows that moment, like where you just, it's going right, and it's like, ah, it's like ecstasy, and you're just like, woo, natural, spiritual. I'm not talking about taking pills. I'm talking about you just got that, what is that thing? Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. And that's how it's going to be for you too. And when you start getting into that point, everything's going my way, it's going to get like that the more that you train yourself into these positive states in the now, which is the only time you have. Okay, I used to tell my doctor this, and she said, I didn't know about Eckhart Tolle, and I was telling her, I just noticed the other day that by thinking about this, I just missed that right there. And she's like, what? What is that? I said, that right there. And she was like, what is that? And I said, she says, is there a mosquito in this office? And I said, no. I said, right in that moment, right in this moment between you and me, was that moment, was now. It's that moment. This is before Eckhart Tolle's book came out. And later on when I went to see her, she's like, you got to read this book. It was what you were saying to me. So I don't want you to miss the now. Like the now. I want you to have the most wonderful, amazing, lovely, beautiful, and beloved life that you came here to have. Okay, we're not weak. If we have to face challenges, we're strong. We woman and we man up and we people up, we X up, we do this. But at the same time, you're not to stay in the valley of poo-poo. You are to rise up. Okay? So I got a way of saying things, but it is what it is. So if you're here, I hope it's helping. I hope it entertains you. So I see myself as a spiritual entertainer, and I hope that it entertains you right into joy and transformation. Okay, so you see, when I removed ego from the moment, I stopped thinking about myself and focused on being fully present. And then I was able to be truly here without ego excuses. I had plenty of explanations for the tension in my chest, but when I moved totally into the now with no other thoughts, the excuses disappeared along with the pain. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, it disappeared along with the pain. And you will notice this. I've noticed this in my career too, that if I could distract or be, if I was very present and I was more entertaining and I was, seeing my patients healed, we didn't need the pain would leave and we didn't need a lot of medication. So I just want to encourage you, because you are all precious and you are all purpose-filled, and let's get to figuring out what that is and get you going. All right, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Right now, hit that like, hit subscribe, and leave your positive comments. I appreciate it. blah, blah, blah. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And you know what's next. You know what's next. Peace and peace out.